Welcome to ZKast, everyone. I'm ZKast from ZK Research, and I'm here at the Fontainebleau Resort in Las Vegas. I'm at NICE Interactions 2024. I'm with Elizabeth Tobey, your head of digital and AI marketing. Is that correct?
Yes, indeed.
And what's that entail at NICE? That's a big title.
Yeah, it is an ever-evolving industry and a lot of different things. But
Because what's not AI and digital today?
It is true. But I would say it's best described as really focusing on, when I was hired ancient history 2.5 years ago, thinking about what it means to actually build a digital-first strategy. And now it's thinking about how to actually build an integrated and holistic AI strategy into everything you're doing for CX. So there's a lot that's very specific and very technical there, and then there is a lot that needs to be built into absolutely everything else that is done along a CX journey.
And I think the key word you said, there's integrated, right? It's not AI bolted on or something like that. It's actually built in.
Yeah, and so again, we have to go very deep because, as we know, it can be very specific in terms of technology, but need to know everything about the CX portfolio that we have because, again, if you have something done in a vacuum or something siloed, that's antithetical to actually being able to have a forward-looking CX ecosystem.
Okay, now, as I mentioned, we're here at Interactions 2024. Tell me a little bit about the event and what can attendees here, what are they going to learn?
Yeah, so 3 full days. Yesterday was our education sessions with EDU, really quite action-packed. And for the next 2 days, we have a bunch of keynotes, analyst sessions, best practice sessions. We have a huge lineup of customers who are able to tell their stories, how they decided to choose what they chose, how they decided to implement, what they learned, best practices, and what other folks can learn from that. So there's a great mix of everything going on.
Yeah, in fact, I love the dedicated customer sessions. In fact, we just finished watching the keynotes. We had a couple of customers on stage, Sony and Hunter Douglas. I do wish that would become part of best practices for every event. Have a customer on stage helping tell your story, because that's a lot more impactful. Now, during Barack's portion of the keynote, he talked a little bit about NICE's approach to AI, right? And can you just talk a little bit about that? When you think about AI, every vendor uses it, right? But what does it mean to NICE?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because at this point, I think everyone has heard some of the same buzzwords and catchphrases. And I think one of the things that I love about the way Barack approaches everything is he gets into the philosophy behind what we're building and the strategy before you get into the nuts and bolts of
It's a complete rethink is the way, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And you're always thinking 3-5 years into the future, and you need to, because when you're thinking about the pace of innovation, the pace of change, especially for AI right now, we're talking the time scale of 2-3 months before I feel like the world is almost turning over. And so for us, it really is about thinking about refactoring how we're doing things, not just moving to the next thing and continuing to bolt on and build more of a legacy problem, but actually being able to take a step back and redo what you've done before and be able to make a cleaner, more seamless actual back end, which then again will facilitate more seamless customer interactions.
In fact, that was a very salient point you brought up, because everybody talks about being cloud native, but nobody's really defined what that means for the benefit of the customer. And he said, what it allows you to do is, if I remember the 3 points, continuous innovation, faster delivery, and those third point.
I think you might be thinking about the idea of versioning going as a thing of a past.
Yeah, no more versions, because you don't need versions because you have continuous innovation.
Yes.
Right? And I don't know any other vendor that's actually laid it out that crisply. And I do think, to his point, in this industry, we are filled with legacy vendors that have done a lift and shift of product into the cloud. And when a customer looks at it, they don't really know, is this real cloud or lift and shift cloud? And similar to AI, they don't know if it's real AI or scripting. And I thought the way Hunter Douglas laid out their thought process, if we invited everybody, which was a lot of vendors at first, and then we asked them a series of questions, and they quickly eliminated a bunch of vendors, and I think they eliminated down to 7. So that gives you sort of order of magnitude of how few companies actually do real AI.
Right, and I think that's one thing to really think about. Again, you are evaluating the products and whether they work with your ecosystem, your tech stack, your workflows, your processes, but also if that vendor can be a partner to you. I mean, I would say that most of what I'm doing is more about education and sharing and understanding people's perspectives perspectives. I'm even going to be talking to some customers and prospects over the next couple days. And the questions that I have are not about sitting in front of them and talking about specific solutions, but instead finding out where their pain points are and matching those needs. And I think, again, that is something that we have the luxury of because we have this breadth and depth, but we have that because we've always taken this philosophical approach to how we have this partnership with our customers.
All right, now another part of his keynote, he did mention, he talks new products, right? Obviously making some big announcements, and he unveiled Empower, right? And well, why don't you describe what that is? Because there was a lot in that for a simple product name.
Yeah, I think I can.
And I like to play on words, so empower.
Thank you. I mean, I'm very proud of what we have done. It has consumed my life for quite a bit now. But CXone Empower is, we call it the first and only CXAware AI offering. And simply put, that is the complete convergence of everything within the CXone Complete Suite and everything within the intelligence of Enlighten AI. And so you are getting the benefit of purpose-built CX AI that we have with Enlighten that is fueled by all of those models and all of that historical data, and then everything you have from the complete suite of CXone together in one package. So that is wonderful and holistic.
Yeah.
And I really think that being able to give this to folks is very simple because I think, again, a lot of folks are focused right now on what do I buy, how do I understand, what are the differences between all of these co-pilots, and when you get into the weeds like that, you sort of lose that bigger picture of what you want to create is this aware, almost sentient, very holistic and flowing offering. And what we're giving you here is being able to create sensors out of all of those different touch points within the journey that then feeds data in a multi-directional way so that you're fueling both the intelligence of the AI and all of those applications.
So that was another interesting point brought up. Everybody thinks about AI being able to augment the agent, but in NICE's definition, the agent's actually going to augment AI, and the two work together actually to be able to make the models work as well as they can.
Yeah, and I think there was a stat that I read a while ago, and I've been citing it, and it's around, we're projecting that over the next few years, 70 million new jobs are going to be created by AI. Yeah. And the question I knew people would say is, okay, but how many jobs will be lost? And we're thinking that of that large number, 20 million will probably be eliminated or changed, which means there's a sum total of 50 million more being created. But I think when we think about that, and I can hear when folks say, the human agent becoming the co-pilot to the AI, some shoulders might tighten with that, but for me, it feels very freeing because a lot of the use cases we are seeing are folks who are doing very monotonous, redundant, time-consuming
stuff they don't want to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so being able to take people who right now are working in the trenches of really legacy code and spending all of their time just writing outdated code just to get things done it's a very busy show.
Yeah.
Is something that people don't want to do. It can cause burnout. It slows down the pace of innovation. And so if you take that and you flip the script, and now you have the co-pilot being the person saying, here is how to be better AI, so that then they can work on the most meaningful, most impactful, most strategic work.
Yeah.
It's a game changer in terms of what we can give to people's careers and how we can push the pace of business forward faster. We already know the world we live in is speeding up so much, so we have to keep up with that pace. It's just non-negotiable.
One of the interesting things too, for your customers that have put AI in, to me, and I've been sort of preaching this for a little while, is the way we measure contact center effectiveness, things like average handle time and first call resolution, those metrics need to go away, because in a lot of cases, if you've got the AI handling a lot of the reset passwords, your handle time is going to go up. And both customers on stage, both Sony, both Hunter Douglas, when they talked about the keys to success, AHT was not mentioned at all, which to me is good. And they're thinking more along the lines of CSAT and containment and things like that. And what are your thoughts about the way companies are thinking about how to the new metrics that they want to measure?
Yeah, I think that it is a scary place for some folks, and so I want to say, deep breath. It is going to be okay. We're all going to get through this together. And it's important to know that your metrics matter for your business. So again, those aren't all going to be the same. Just because Sony or Hunter Douglas is changing things doesn't mean you change in the same way. But you do probably change.
Yes.
And again, we've seen with folks with really successful autopilots that end up dealing with a lot of questions, means that average handle time on average goes up with the human agents because they're getting those more technical or nuanced or extensive questions. That's not a bad thing, but in the old world, it might be where you're trying to keep average handle time down low. So I think the idea here is to really think about what is going on, and that's one of the reasons why I think a lot of our offerings are great, because we have solutions who will help you analyze that data. Because again, if your average handle time does go up, instead of saying, this is terrible, we're failing, you might be able to then have a conversation with your data and figure out why is that happening, and if that's actually a good thing or a bad thing. Because you have to figure out what's success. Is it happiest customers? Is it more customers? Is it higher revenue per customer, et cetera, et cetera? And so those are the things you really need to get to, is what is the outcome that is the success metric for your core business at the heart of everything.
Okay, so last question, then I'll let you go, because I know you got a bunch of customers to meet with. But for companies watching this that are thinking about AI, and I think very few companies are where Sony and Hunter Douglas are. I think most are kicking the tires. What's a couple of pieces of advice you could give them to help them get started?
Yeah, I think it's coming with a really clear point of view, again, about what those metrics are for your business.
What's the problem you're trying to solve?
Like, what is the moment at the end of the year where you say, I made it, we did it, we achieved our core goal, and then to back that into what it means functionally. And you may not have the answer to that question. You know, I've had some folks that I've been having conversations with where they're just saying, you know, our agents go on break and we can't keep up during that break time. And I'm like, well, I have several answers for you, but it depends. Do you know what happens during those times? It depends on the solution. So again, know your problem statement and know your desired outcome, and don't necessarily get too stuck in the idea of, I need a co-pilot, I need a better IVA.
I question if they actually know the problem, though.
Yeah, again, even if you know the idea of the pain, and you know that core feeling like of what happiness would be, it can be very simple, because with the right solution provider and the right vendor, they're going to be able to match, even if you're saying like happiness to me would be more money.
Yeah.
I can match that to something that matters to your operational core business. So I think it's really just sticking to that, and also knowing what are your non-negotiables, because there are some things in your tech stack you're going to need to change, and there's some things that you're not, and understanding what matters the most to you, not just what exists now, will really help you, and having someone who can work with you on those problems, because you're not going to necessarily have the answers to all those questions, and that's fine. The right person will be able to help you get there.
And I'm going to add one more to that, and that's don't wait for perfection. I've talked to a lot of companies kicking the tires, and they wait for the AI to give them perfect answers across the board, and AIs just aren't built that way. They make mistakes. And to me, the threshold for deployment is better than people, and frankly, people make a lot of mistakes. So I think we're well past that already. So
I mean, and if you remember, it was just 1 year ago that we announced the solutions, and the keynotes are talking about the success that they have seen from those solutions. That is how fast we are moving.
Yeah, and well, good. And so anything else you want to add?
No, just very excited to have the rest of the announcements that are coming from these next couple days. A lot more coming on day 2.
Okay, well, more big news coming.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, so on behalf of Elizabeth Tobey from NICE, I'm Zeus Caravallo from ZK Research. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button. I'll see you next time on the next episode of ZKast. Thanks, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Thanks.